Hey folks, this is Vince with Dad's Gaming Addiction, and recently I published my top 10 favorite tabletop games for the 2015 DGA Awards. This time I want to list my favorite or top 10 video games. Now the same disclaimers apply. This is not a best of list. There are a lot of games out there that I do not own, and I can't say that these games are the best because I haven't played them all to know if they really are the best or not. So this is just my favorite top 10 video games, not the best of. So keep that in the back of your mind before you start going, well, what about this game? What about this game? Well, check my video games tab on my official website. It'll list a lot of the games that I own, and on top of that, check my YouTube channel and do a search for that game that you're talking about. If it's not on there, then chances are I don't have it. So there's that. But yeah, top 10 favorite video games for 2015. Now when I say 2015, that's my favorite as of this year, as of right now. I'm going to do it regardless of publication date. I simply don't own enough games to be able to narrow down the best of or my favorite of 2015. So this list will encompass every single year based on what I currently have. Basically, whatever I have on my Steam library. I mean, granted, I still have a few games that need the CD to play, but for the most part, whatever's on my Steam library, was as a candidate for this list. But anyway, let's get right down to it. Number 10, Hearthlands. And it's real quick, it's important to note that some of these games may still be under development or on Steam's Early Access program. But Hearthlands, I believe, is one of them, and the reason I'm choosing this one, excellent city builder. It reminds me of Banished, but it does so much more. It's an excellent city builder-esque kind of game. It's challenging, trying to get all of the buildings to, chain together. If you've ever played a Caesar game, like Caesar 3 or Caesar 4, then you'll be somewhat familiar with this. You've got this resource plugging into this building here, then that building produces something final, and then that product is being used by your citizens or whatever. So it's sort of like Caesar, and it's sort of like Banished. So I like Hearthlands. It has a lot of promise, so go check that one out. Number 9 is Supreme Commander 2. Now, I may get a little bit of flack for this because, by popular consideration, Supreme Commander 1 is supposedly the better game. It's not the better game. It's slower and more strategic. There's more to it. There's more content. It's slower. It takes a longer time for these matches to play out. And in my case, that's a little bit more inconvenient. I like quick-to-play games because I play a lot of games. I'm a busy guy. Supreme Commander 2 is a lighter RTS compared to the first one. And I still like it. I mean, I can turtle in that game. I can put up shields up the wazoo, and I can build these artillery cannons and bombard my enemy from afar. So Supreme Commander 2 is probably one of my favorite RTS games. So go check that one out. State of Decay, specifically the Breakdown DLC. I've gotten so much playtime out of this. I love a good zombie survival game, and this one does almost everything right. I mean, you sort of are a one-man show in that game. I just wish I could send my guys out, like the people that I am saving and recruiting into my base. I wish I could have more direct control over what I'm doing with them, but it's still a great game. Scavenging for supplies, ammo, all that jazz. So that's number 8. Number 7, Project Zomboid. Another game that's under development. It may still be. Excellent zombie survival game, although instead of you trying to manage a base with a bunch of people in it, you are just thrown onto this map and just are trying to survive as long as possible. The electricity and the water go out after a certain period of time, and my favorite part is you can customize it almost any way you want to. Whenever you're setting up a sandbox game, you can make the zombies slow, you can make them fast, you can set, the length of day or the length of night. Like, there's just so much you can customize when you're setting up your own sandbox game. But I love scavenging in a post-apocalyptic environment, that kind of thing. So, Project Zomboid is a great game. Recommend that one. XCOM, Enemy Unknown, and Enemy Within. I believe Enemy Within is the sequel standalone to Enemy Unknown. Still a great tactical game, top-down game where you're pitted against aliens. It's one of those save-the-world scenarios against a foe that is 10 times more powerful than you, and you will get attached to the soldiers that you're throwing into battle. You can name them, you can customize their gear, you can do a lot of different things. You can level them up, and then they die on you, and then you cry. So, you know, especially if you're playing in the harder modes, it's gonna happen. So I really enjoy it. There's a lot of play time. Just in one game alone, you're gonna spend hours just trying to get through it. And then the enemy within adds extra stuff to Enemy Unknown. So I think that's pretty cool as well. Number 5, SimCity Societies and Destinations. Now, this is an older game. I used to have it on disc. I still do, but I hit my installation limit. That's one thing that pisses me off. I mean, come on, DRM nowadays. I remember a day, I have Nintendo cartridges downstairs that still work. I remember when I used to go into a store, buy a cartridge, and put it in and make it work, and it'll go. Nowadays, you have an installation limit, you have this, you have that. Not all games are guilty of this, mind you, but there are some companies out there that are just crazy about their DRM and activation limits and all that jazz. But I have it now. I bought it again because I liked it that much, and I got it through Origin, because it's an EA game. But SimCity Societies and Destinations, I like SimCity to begin with, but this game, you can sort of customize your city via different, well, societies. I mean, you can have like a sci-fi themed kind of thing. You could have a steampunk kind of city. You could make it a totalitarian state, you know, just police everywhere. So, I mean, you can customize it a little bit more than you could a standard SimCity game. In SimCity, you've got residential, commercial, industrial. In this game, you actually can put down specific building types, and then each specific type will give you points toward a certain society, and then you can use those points for something else. Some consume, some give, so it's a balance there. I really like that game. Factorio is number 4, another game that's under development. My gosh, it's just one big giant puzzle. You're thrown onto this planet, and you've got all these resources around you, like coal and iron and copper, and you've got to smelt them. You've got to put this resource into this machine, and then smelt it from this machine into this, and then you've got conveyor belts. There's a research tree in this game, so you'll be discovering better ways to automate it. It's one big automation game, trying to figure out how to get everything to automate. And you'll have machines, you'll have conveyor belts, you'll get robots down the line, and then there are things on the map that will spawn and try and kill you, so you have to build a base with turrets. It's a lot of fun. Factorio, go look at that one. City Skylines is my number 3. I love SimCity, don't get me wrong, but the last one was pretty crappy. I mean, when it first released, no one could get online because it was an always online connection that was required. I do believe they patched that later. The city size is relatively small compared to SimCity 4. Now, SimCity 4 is SimCity done right. You could choose a grid, go into that grid, then you can back out of that, choose a different grid, jump into that, and there's this huge region. SimCity was just a step back. But SimCity, or City Skylines rather, not done by EA, done by Colossal Order, I believe, and published by Paradox Interactive. It's just a fantastic city builder. It supports Steam Workshop, so people can create stuff, and then you can download that stuff and just have fun with it. It's just, some people even made like an airplane mod to where you can actually fly around in the airplanes that are automatically going around the city. So it's a city builder. You've got your residential, commercial, industrial, but this is SimCity done right. Is what this game is. It's fantastic. Number 2, Elder Scrolls V Skyrim. I was blown away the first time I played this, and there are still occasions where I stop in my tracks. I'm out traveling in the forest, whatever, or on top of some sort of rocky cliff, and I just look out into the distance, and I'm just like, yeah, that looks great. Like, it's just so beautiful. Like, just the surroundings are just amazing. Everything about it is just fantastic, and it's even better with mods. I'm generally not a person that uses mods, and just with the vanilla, it's fine. I mean, it's just fine the way it is. There's just so much to it. So many different quests, so many different things you can discover. It's just amazing. Skyrim. Tropico 4, this is my number 1. Tropico 4 Modern Times. Tropico 4, I think, is the better game compared to Tropico 5. Tropico 5 got rid of rent, and some other things that I didn't understand. It dumbed it down a bit. Tropico 4, I've gotten so much playtime out of this game, it's ridiculous. And the sandbox modes are fantastic. The sense of humor is fantastic. Like one of the... You can choose like specialties for your dictator, and one of them is like flatulence, and the description is beans, 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 beans for breakfast, beans for lunch, beans for dinner. It's hilarious. Like it has a great sense of humor. It's a great SimCity-esque kind of game. It's not SimCity, but you're basically like a dictator trying to manage an island, make money. Tropico 1 was incredibly difficult. It took me forever to learn how to play that. Tropico 2 was pirates, and then Tropico 3, 4, and 5 are very similar to one another. But Tropico 4, with the modern time expansion, is probably my favorite out of all of them. So there you have it, my top 10 favorite video games for the 2015 DGA Awards. Okay, now before I go, I want to quickly read off some honorable mentions, and this was very difficult for me. I have like 800 games in my Steam library and counting. So for me to say these ones stood out among the rest was very difficult for me to do because each game in their own way has something to offer. Granted, some are carbon copies of other games, but in most cases they do something unique that is really cool. And these are in no particular order. These are just games that I really enjoyed playing that didn't make my top 10 list. Grand Ages Medieval, some people like it, some people don't. I like the whole commodity trading thing. You know, building different cities, growing commodities, managing multiple cities, and seeing to their needs, and trying to make money, trying to make a business. I like that business sim. I really do. And I'm going to go through these more quickly because there's a lot of them. Planetbase is, I don't know if it's still in development. I believe it is. No. It might have just left early access. But Planetbase allows you to build a colony on another world. And I really... Space-based DF9, I liked that game for a while, but when the developers abandoned it, Double Fine, it pissed me off. And I've been waiting for a better game that you know, allowed you to manage a sci-fi base. And this one does it okay. It still has its issues, but it's fun to play. Concrete Jungle, SimCity with cards. It's a tile-laying SimCity-esque game. You've got to put these cards down onto this grid in a particular way because they chain together and even conflict in some ways. And you're trying to get each row to score points. It's a very challenging game. Makes you think in different ways. It's very unique. I've never seen another game like it. Concrete Jungle. Sheltered. It's an underground bunker, post-apocalyptic game. You've got to manage a family. It's sort of like 60 Seconds, but you've got so many more options here. Go check out Sheltered. It's still under development. CNC, Command & Conquer 0 Hour. Out of all the Command & Conquer games I own, I like Red Alert, but 0 Hour is my favorite. It's just, I don't know what it is. The gameplay's addicting, and the different generals and all their different abilities just are fantastic. The laser general, I mean, granted, all of them can do roughly the same things, but some of them get special units. Some of them do things better than other generals. So just picking a general, you know, the Toxin General instead of the Demolition General for the GLA, or the China generals have, there's tank, there's infantry, and there's nukes. So yeah, there's different generals to choose from, and it's a great RTS game. The Long Dark, oh my gosh, it is a great, fantastic survival game. I'm a big fan of survival games, in case you couldn't tell. But this one doesn't. I mean, the graphics are cartoony, but they look fantastic. It's just, I don't know how they pulled it off, but it's fantastic. I love scavenging for stuff, and you know, trying to survive. It's in a cold environment, so you're constantly trying to manage warmth on top of food and sleep and fatigue, all that. FarSky, it's an underwater survival sim. Your sub is crashed underwater, something like that, and you have to collect these parts and then escape. So you get a base. My only complaint with FarSky is that it was never supported after it was released, and it lacks in content. It's still fun to play. You still have to manage resources, collect resources. You can put harvesters on resource spots and collect resources, but there's not a whole lot to craft. It's more of a dumbed down underwater Minecraft, and it's a shame. I wish there was more to it. Subnautica is one that's not on this list. I don't think it is. Subnautica is sort of like that, and I would recommend checking into that one. Anyway, I guess I should have put Subnautica on this list. There, Subnautica. Bounty Train. It's sort of like FTL but with trains. You can go from city to city in parts of the US and recruit people. You can deliver cargo. You can do quests. Great game. I believe that one's still under development. RimWorld, another one that's under development. It's a colony simulator. You crash land on an alien world, and with recent patches, you can actually choose which biome you're going to go into. And you can even generate the worlds too on top of that. But you know, you can farm, you can make buildings, you can research, you can trade with merchant ships that pass by, different things like that. Hunt animals, build turrets to fend off pirates. Minecraft, staple. You can play the game to just be creative and build stuff, or you can play it as a survival game. You know, zombies come out at night, skeletons come out at night, and I like both aspects, really. Turmoil is sort of like an arcade oil, I don't know, oil collecting game. You know, you start on the very top of the map and you dig for oil, and then you're trying to sell as much oil as possible to the two companies to your left and right, and the prices will fluctuate on both. You can buy special abilities and upgrades, different things like that. It's an interesting one, also under development. Ark Survival Evolved, another survival game with dinosaurs. Yeah, dinosaurs. That's awesome. Infested Planet. It's a top-down squad management game. Fantastic. As you capture points on the map, the aliens get harder and mutate in different ways, so you're constantly dealing with new threats. Just when you think you're powerful enough to get that next node or command base, the creatures mutate and the aliens mutate into something and totally wipe you out. So it's, yeah, Infested Planet. Great, great game. And there's also multiple ways in which you can customize it too. So you can play skirmish, there's a campaign, you can buy upgrades in the campaign, there's even an editor so you can make your own. Pretty cool. Okay, so my camera is yelling at me. I have very limited disk space left on my SD card, so I'm going to blow through these now. Terraria, it's basically a side-scrolling Minecraft, excellent game, a lot of playtime there. Mini Metro, great, great puzzle game. Very simple to play, but those stations pop up out of nowhere, those cities pop up out of nowhere, and you're constantly trying to get those little shapes to the big shapes. Excellent, excellent puzzle game. Creeper World 3, nice mix of tower defense and tower offense. You're trying to fend back the creeper, but you're also trying to push it back so you can get to certain points on the map to complete your objectives. Prison Architect, great prison tycoon-esque kind of game. Sins of a Solar Empire, great RTS, especially with the Armada 3 mod that lets you play with all the Star Trek factions, like the Borg, Federation, Klingons, all that jazz. So that's great. The Spatials, a great sci-fi colony manager slash builder. Star Wars Empire at War, sort of like Star Wars Rebellion from way back in the day, but this one's a little bit more modern. It's greater, it's better with mods, I think. There's just not enough ship types for my liking in the core vanilla, but with mods you can you know, see more ships that you would normally see in the Star Wars universe. The Walking Dead, Season 1 and Season 2. Season 1 more so. Season 2 was great, don't get me wrong, but the Walking Dead series had me on the edge of my seat every time I played. And in between every episode, I was like, I gotta play the next one, I gotta play the next one. The Walking Dead, excellent. Roller Coaster Tycoon 3, classic, classic. I love the idea of being able to ride the roller coasters that you build, managing the roller coasters to, you know, maximize the excitement while trying to keep the intensity and the nausea low, that kind of thing. So, and you can build different rides, you can color them, you can manage your guests, you can see to their needs. Just a great game. Rebuild 3, it's sort of like another city. It's a zombie. It's where zombies are like covering this map, and as a group, you've got this little base, and you've got to expand outward in the city. You've got to manage food. You've got to see to your people's needs. You've got to research stuff. Great game. Rebuild 3. Orcs Must Die 2. Great third-person tower defense game. Great music, by the way. Far Cry 3. Great graphics. Love it. It's a nice open-world game. Kerbal Space Program. I suck at it, but I love creating ships and seeing what my concoction does and watching it blow up. Company of Heroes 2, harder RTS, but it's unique and I like it. I say it's harder because the AI, even on easy, can be quite challenging. And I have a problem with that because I'm more of a casual gamer, but it's still an excellent RTS game. Star Wars Battlefront 2, another great first-person Star Wars game. I mean, there was Jedi Knight and Academy and all that, but and Dark Forces, but Star Wars Battlefront 2, I loved the ability to play as the heroes, to fly as the X-Wings, to fly in space and actually land on a Star Destroyer and knock it out that way. And then finally, FTL, fantastic. You start off with a small ship, or the ship of your choosing, rather, and you've got a small number of crew, and you're trying to go, you're constantly being chased by the rebels or whatever, but you have to make your ship better by getting more energy, more stuff. It's just FTL, fantastic. One of the best games I've ever played. So yeah, there you have it. A quick look at my honorable mentions for the 2015 DGA Awards. Okay, so like I was saying, my camera is about to die on me, so I think I'll just end it here. Hopefully you found this video enjoyable, and hopefully gave you some ideas as to what kind of game you may want to purchase next, because all of the games I read off are fairly decent. Again, this is just my opinion, mind you. This is not the best of, as I've already said multiple times. But hopefully this will at least prompt you to go check out some of these games because they are fantastic, at least to me. So yeah, 2015 DGA Awards. I do have a written copy on my official website, so if you'd rather read it, read these entries. I have links, by the way, in the below description should you want to check out those individual reviews. And in some cases, I even have an Amazon link or a link to the Steam page so that you can just head over there, see the game, and buy it. So yeah, if you guys haven't already, subscribe to my YouTube channel and check out my official website, www.dadsgamingaddiction.com. This is Vince. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you next time.